Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. Getting right into it. As the title says, the grounds for civil unrest, civil war, which is prophesied in the scriptures, as we know, as we should know. All right, and just through the Spirit, inspired by a few videos that I'm going to play. They're not too long, but like the scriptures say, to quote, a kingdom divided against itself shall not stand. All right, and more. Matter of fact, before I get to talking, I'm going to get this, because pursuant to Revelation, the 18th chapter, where it mentions how America is going to be taken out violently, like a great millstone. It talks about Revelation 18, talks about that great millstone. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. And then I'm going to get this. In Revelation 18, in verse 21, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall the great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So basically, because when Yahushua comes, he's just going to he's just going to deliver the knockout blow. All right, basically, because by the time Yahushua does come, this place is already going to be up in flames. This shit is already going to be, America's already on her knees, but America's pretty much already on hospice. All right, and like I said, Yahushua, he's just coming to deliver the knockout blow. But the point I wanted to make, I'm gonna go to this in Isaiah. Because well, let me just get this in Isaiah 14. Isaiah 14 in verse 11. Thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. All right, and basically, like if you have a dead corpse, basically by the time the worms get to it, it's already in the decomposition stage, and that's what America is. The America is already in that decomposing stage, is what I meant to say. Basically rotten from the inside out. All right, and we can see that in a literal sense, from America's infrastructure, all these potholes. America's literally crumbling. All right, America's crumbling, literally. All right, but even more so in the spiritual sense, because we can see the moral decay. All right, it's just getting worse and worse. All right, but nevertheless, that's why I read that Revelation 18, because Yahushua, by the time he comes, this place is already going to be done. It's already done. And Yahushua, he's just coming to deliver that knockout blow. All right, so America's already in this decomposing stage because this place is through. All right, it's just a matter of the Lord's prophecies coming to pass and playing out, and more we're getting closer to that. All right, so getting into it, like I said, I got some videos that I just want to play real quick. Just more divisions, more dividing of this empire, right? Which one thing is going to lead to another, and eventually these people, they're going to be at each other's throat. So this first video, Lord willing, you can hear it. Bear with me.
It's going to show us the effectiveness of the HEPA filter versus a vehicle that does not have the HEPA filter.
My weapon defense would engage.
Really?
All right, so this first video is by, and I'll leave the links to the description. I'll leave the links to these videos in the description in case you want to check them out yourself. But this first video is from CBS News, and it says, Texas blocking federal agents from processing migrants in border town park. And basically, people are getting fed up with this whole so-called, you know, illegal immigrant situation, these migrants being flooded into the cities of Babylon, because here it is, these Babylonians, they're struggling, you know, living check to check and whatnot, but here it is, all these so-called, and we know the you know, deeper agenda behind it, but you know, we're not going to touch on that in this video. But nevertheless, here it is, like I said, these Babylonians, man, they're living from check to check and, you know, going through it. And these so-called illegal immigrants, here it is, they're being brought over here, they're being housed, you know, basically clothed and, you know, given shelter and food, you know, the healthcare system, you know, these migrants are getting free healthcare. Meanwhile, there's already a strain on the healthcare system as it is. Ever since this, you know, world crisis started back in 2020, there's been a strain on the healthcare system. But here it is, these migrants are getting free healthcare. Here it is, you got a lot of elderly people and people that are, you know, dependent upon these meds and whatnot. And with this whole supply chain crisis, all right, so-called, you know, because everything is orchestrated, and I'm gonna get that in Revelation 6, Lord willing. All right, but here it is, people are, you know, dependent upon these meds, and more their access to these meds, to their medications, is being restricted, you know. But here it is again, these migrants are getting free healthcare, so people are getting fed up with it. All right, and that's why I said one thing is going to lead to another, and hey, eventually these people are going to be at each other's throats, in each other's throats, literally. But this first video, I'm going to go ahead and play it.
Texas is blocking federal agents from processing migrants in a public area of Eagle Pass, just a mile away from the U.S.-Mexico border. The move is the latest escalation between the state and federal government over the nation's immigration policy. Texas's Republican Governor Greg Abbott deployed National Guard troops to the park. They are now preventing U.S. Border Patrol agents from entering and patrolling the area. The federal government previously used the space to hold migrants in a staging area before further processing. CBS News immigration and political reporter Camilo Montoya Galvez joins us now. Camilo, how is the state of Texas able to do this?
Hi, Elaine. This really is an extraordinary standoff between Texas and the Biden administration. Texas National Guard members, as we speak, have been deployed by Governor Greg Abbott to take control of this public park in Eagle Pass, Texas, where Border Patrol had been holding migrants in a staging area, as you underscored. And right now, Texas National Guard soldiers and vehicles are actively denying Border Patrol agents, as well as federal National Guard members, access to roughly 2.5 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border. According to federal officials who spoke with CBS News, this means that Border Patrol agents cannot access this area, Elaine, to process migrants, including those who may be in distress, who are experiencing a medical emergency, for example. They cannot patrol that area or conduct surveillance as well. These are, after all, Elaine, federal responsibilities. And in terms of the legality of these actions, that is still very much an open question. Governor Abbott has previously said that he has the authority to take sweeping actions to deter illegal crossings, but this is certainly, Elaine, his most drastic move yet to challenge the Biden administration's authority on immigration.
Well, how is the White House responding to this, Camilo?
Well, the White House actually issued a statement just recently, Elaine. I want to read that to our viewers and our audiences. The White House is accusing Governor Abbott of trying to interfere with immigration and border enforcement, saying that the governor is continuing his extreme political stunts that not only seek to demonize and dehumanize people, but that also make it harder and more dangerous for Border Patrol to do their job. So this is clearly the latest escalation in this feud between President Biden and Governor Abbott. the Biden administration, the Justice Department specifically, Elaine, has also alerted the Supreme Court of these actions by Texas in Eagle Pass. So we should expect a prolonged legal battle on this matter as well.
That was going to be my question. I mean, what does this signify about this fight over who is responsible for the nation's immigration policy?
Well, Elaine, I think this really illustrates that governors like Greg Abbott are not shy about testing the limits of their authority on immigration and border issues. They have significant disagreements with how the Biden administration has handled the record levels of migration along the U.S.-Mexico border over the past 3 years. Governor Abbott, in just 3 years, has bused tens of thousands of migrants to Democratic-led cities, including over there in New York City. Elaine, he has charged migrants on trespassing charges and fortified the riverbanks of the Rio Grande with razor wire and floating barriers. And most recently, he signed a law, Governor Abbott did, Elaine, that would allow the state to prosecute, jail, and arrest migrants on state criminal charges of crossing into Texas illegally. Those actions are already illegal at the federal level, and that is why the Justice Department is challenging that law and is hoping to enjoin it to prevent it from taking effect in March.
So yeah, man, that's crazy, you know, and quite frankly, that's some serious news, you know. Texas against the federal government, you know. This guy out there, he's blocking federal agents, stopping federal agents from, you know, doing their job, and more, you know. And what comes to mind is the movie Bushwick, you know. Done plenty of several narratives on that movie, you know, which basically the movie's based out of Bushwick up there, you know, up north. But it was centered around Texas, or martial law being declared because, you know, Texas basically succeeding from the union, you know. So that's what this immediately right away, it reminds me of that, you know, because hey, Texas, man, they're doing their own thing, or, you know, they're more and more, they're testing the limits, you know, and of course, we just have to sit back and wait and see how this plays out. But hey, Texas against the Biden administration, you know, Texas against the federal government, that's big, you know. But hey, more division, more divide, right? So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the next video. And this one is from Weon, all right? And again, I'll leave the links in the description. And it says, U.S. Northeast storms prompt migrant evacuation. The NYC school becomes migrant shelter. So let's check this out.
Storms moving into the U.S. Northeast have triggered another controversy involving migrants. The New York City administration was forced to evacuate nearly 2,000 migrants. Migrants were evacuated to a high school in Brooklyn on Tuesday night. A combination of snow, rain, and strong winds prompted New York City Mayor Eric Adams to clear out the sprawling tent complex. Some areas were hit with heavy snows last weekend, increasing the risk of significant flooding. Earlier, the migrants were being housed at the Floyd Bennett Field. Floyd Bennett Field was a former airport in Brooklyn. Migrants were seen collecting their personal belongings before being transported to the nearby James Madison High School. An aide to the mayor pointed to predicted wind speeds of more than 70 miles per hour as a major cause for concern. Adams' administration has erected the temporary shelter at the airfield in response to the waves of new immigrants arriving in the city. Migration from Latin America to the United States continues to be a major concern. It has also become a talking point for the upcoming U.S. presidential elections. A spokesperson for Adams said in a statement that the temporary relocation will continue until conditions stabilize at Floyd Bennett Field. For more on this, we were earlier joined by our correspondent Susan Teherani from New York, who spoke to us about the conditions of migrants who have been living in New York City shelters but were evicted on Tuesday. Listen in.
I'm standing in front of the Roosevelt Hotel, which has become a migrant processing center in recent months, a sort of first stop for migrants when they arrive here in New York. On Tuesday, the city began to evict migrants staying in shelters for free if they reach their 60-day limit. Now, the city also says that if migrants, notably those with children, want to reapply for city shelter, whether it's in hotels or these makeshift camps or elsewhere, they would have to come back here to the Roosevelt Hotel and be processed once again. New York says that it is overwhelmed with the number of migrants across the city. In fiscal year 2023 alone, the city spent $1.43 billion on migrants, and by 2025, that number is expected to rise to $12 billion.
So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the next video, because like I said, like I played the first video, you know, Texas against the federal government, ain't that something, right? But supposedly the situation is getting so bad, you know, America's being so overwhelmed with these migrants, you know, don't be surprised, you know, it's getting, if it gets to a point where, you know, people are forced to house these migrants, you know, like I said, they're already coming over here and basically getting taken care of, you know, free healthcare, free housing and everything, you know. So we'll get into this next video.
Hey Orlando, earn up to $780 a month by helping people.
Joining me now is Democrat New York Assembly member Jamie Williams, who's also a parent of a student at James Madison High School. Assemblywoman, thank you for joining us. I know you went to the school last night. You're a parent yourself, and your reaction to what happened and the response from the officials.
Thank you, Laura, for having me. Definitely concerning as a parent, as a representative for the area, very disruptive to our students. It's not fair to our parents. I was also there this morning, and the community is just outraged because here you have the migrants being placed over our own children and our community. What's next?
Well, Assemblywoman, you found this poster directing the migrants to local government officials, including yourself, if they need anything. Again, American kids are falling behind in test scores, et cetera. Your reaction to that? Priorities?
I don't think it was a poster for them to, you know, if they needed something. Clearly, myself and Council Member Ina Vonikoff, it was to let them know if we are back on the scene, to not let us into the building.
Oh, so they were trying to prevent you as a taxpayer and as an assemblywoman elected by your constituents, as a parent, from gaining access to the facility? You all pay for the facility.
We pay for the facility. Guess what? It's taxpayers' money, and there needs to be accountability. And we have taken a national issue, which the federal government, the Biden administration, has turned a blind eye to put it into the most residential community in the southeast side of Brooklyn. And now our residents have to deal with such an issue. And that's unfair to us. It's unfair to each tax-paying American.
But don't you agree that if Joe Biden wanted this to end tomorrow, he has the tools to do that? I mean, this border was fairly secure just a few years ago, Assemblywoman. But rich people in the United States want this border to stay open. They like the cheap labor and all the other benefits that they get.
So why wait till tomorrow? Our districts are benefactors of lawlessness. We can't wait until tomorrow. We have to turn off the main at the faucet, and that is closing our borders. Plain and simple. There's no tools to find. There's no new words to invent. It's plain English. Close the borders, and let's deal with the situation instead of putting the American citizens in a predicament where you have other people over them. It's unfair to each and every tax-paying American, not only in my district, but in this country. It is not fair to us.
Assemblywoman, I appreciate your...
So you see, man, hey, People are getting frustrated. People are getting tired. People are getting fed up. You know, so like I've said, one thing is going to lead to another. You know, America's divided. This is just more fuel to the fire. The groundwork is being laid more and more, little by little. You know, and at the end of the day, they're not going to close those borders because they want the chaos to ensue. All right, they want the chaos to ensue, which is going to justify them in bringing in, ushering in draconian laws, draconian measures. You know, it's going to justify them in shutting things down, martial law. Right? We know, man. We know this. The top of the elites, they, you know, we know the agenda. So Revelation 6. Revelation 6 and verse 3. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast saying, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And who is this red horse? It's these red Hebrew Edomites, man. All right. Power was given to him to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword. All right. You see, so he's been given the ability to you know, because we talk about Esau and his agenda, but really it's the agenda of the Yahweh Shemal Shai. You know, that's why for the most part, when it comes to certain things of Esau, the Lord is with it, because ultimately it's the Lord's will. It's his agenda. That's why, you know, whenever Esau tries to do anything outside of the Lord's agenda, it doesn't come to pass. Or if he tries to do things sooner than, you know, anticipated, it doesn't come to pass, because everything happens on the Lord's time, you know. But this is what he wants. All right, the borders, they're not going to be closed. All right. Let me get this. It's like Edges 13. So yeah, more division, more divide. And you know, like they mentioned with the these taxpayers, all right, and you best believe these patriotic Edomites, they you know, they're not gonna stand for this shit, you know, and rightfully so, because like the scripture said, the kingdom, if this was like Yahweh Shai said, if this was my kingdom, my servants will fight, you know. So rightfully so, Esau, because this is his kingdom, and he, you know, let him fight for his kingdom. That's not going to go anywhere. All right, but they're going to stand up and fight for their kingdom because they see their kingdom falling. So, you know, rightfully so, they're going to fight for their kingdom. 2 Edges 13:31, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. So you see, man, division, divide. Babylon is divided from within. All right, like I mentioned, with, you know, as I read earlier, you know, the worms, man, you know, the corrosion, the America's rotten from the inside out. You know, America's falling from within. All right, you got state against state. Hey, and even within certain states, you have certain counties against one another. believe it or not, you got certain counties that are against one another within the same state. So the pot is brewing, man, and eventually this shit is gonna spill over. You know, people are gonna get tired. More and more people are gonna get tired, man, and eventually these people, they're gonna take their frustrations out on one another, man. Eventually, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it off there. Lord willing, this was edifying. All praises to Yahweh Shai. Shalom to you, hopefully elect.